Hi guys, this is Aditya from LightHaven. Today we're going to go over Sagang Labo or Hubad Lubod as it's often called. One of the really cool things about this drill is that it can be done with almost any weapon system, from your stick, double stick, to knife, to empty hand. We're going to start with the stick first, and then we're going to go to empty hand. The context for Sagang Labo or Hubad Lubod is sort of close range to very close range to medium to close range, right? So with the stick, the way we're going to do it is, if Ben comes a little bit closer and he hits me with the punyo, I'm looking to frame up against that strike, right? Depending on how close you are, this can be a strike or this can just be a frame. Now, I have a slight problem over here, which is that ideally I want to be to the outside of Ben's shoulders, because I'm further away from that arm and I've isolated one side of him, and now if I want, I can take his back or I can control that weapon arm, right? Here, I'm in between his shoulders. So that arm is in play, his legs are in play, there's a whole bunch of stuff that Ben can do. The other problem is that this as a frame isn't the strongest frame. There are many ways for Ben to simply, if he pushes straight down, he can crash through that frame, right? So I want to get to the outside because it's safest. I don't want to stay inside here anymore. And I want to either reinforce this frame or substitute with something else. And that's basically where this drill comes from. So as he's punyoing me, I'm framing, because that's my first sort of flinch reaction. My bottom hand, which is stuck against my body over here, is going to come up onto his forearm. I'm going to move it, step to the outside, and control his elbow. Now I'm going to hit him with the punyo. He frames, picks it up, controls the elbow. Frames, picks it up, controls the elbow.
You can be stationary also while you're doing this drill. We like to add a little bit of footwork into it.
When we are empty hands, the same basic concept. If Ben comes up with a hammer fist to my face, I'm stopping that same, depending on how far or close I am, this can be a strike to the head or it can just be a frame. I want to get to the outside, so I'm going to lift, step to the outside, control that elbow. Now we can refine these movements a lot themselves. So again, if you want to work that as a strike, as he's coming, you can enter and tap his forehead lightly while still keeping this frame strong. Now, the higher up his arm I go, the more I can turn his body. So as he's coming, if I am just going to his forearm, that's how much his body will turn. If I go higher up, sort of behind his elbow, I can turn his entire body, right? That's just something that you can play with. That's a variation you can play with. It's just something to be aware of. The next thing is also that once I'm on the outside, what do I do with this hand? Do I go palm up, palm down? Now this is a really important bit. If I want to control Ben's arm, I generally like to have palm facing up, because from here, when Ben tries to turn back into me, this whole arm is braced against my body. If I go palm down and Ben pushes, this is weak structure and it sort of breaks. The time that I go palm down is when I want to jam Ben's arm against his body. I'm pushing that arm into his body. That's when I can go palm down. Otherwise, if I want to turn his body away from me, I go palm up, right?
You want your palm to be in contact not with the elbow joint, but just above the elbow, between the elbow joint and the beginning of the tricep.
Once I'm here, it's important also to make sure that you sort of have control over this arm. If I leave this arm loose, Ben is going to strike, right? From here, he can frame and hit. So I don't want that. So I want this controlled, so that the entire time he cannot hit me. The other thing I see a lot of people do is as soon as they strike, they let this go, which again defeats the purpose. He's still going to hit you. You want control of this arm all the way until he comes and touches your forearm. Then you can let it go, because now this hand, if this hand is in contact with his attacking arm, then he can no longer be hitting him here, right? So he doesn't need to be controlling it. So now he can let it go, come back. The last bit is what Ben should do with the arm that I'm controlling. If Ben keeps this arm straight, it gives me the opportunity for arm bars, for 2-on-1s, for all those kind of things. So if Ben's doing it to me, as this arm comes across my body, I want to bend it. I want to hide it from him, because if I don't hide it, he's gonna bar it, right? So as this comes, I want to bend this, hide that arm, frame, pick up. Ben wants to do the same thing. The last little bit that we're going to talk about is structure. This, give me a hand first. This isn't, as we've gone over, this isn't the strongest of structures, but I want to still try and make it as strong as possible. Now this is something that you can play with. Be careful as to how hard you do this, because it will hurt someone. What I like to do is, whether it's with a stick or with a knife or empty hand, as I'm making this frame, I'm putting my body behind it. If my body is sort of loose and it's going to crumble much easier. But when it comes, I'm going to put my body behind it. This hand goes under. As I push this arm across, I'm going to step to the side, control the arm. That gives me a better position for whatever follow-ups that I want to do, right? So when you're going empty hands, bang, roll. You can also add side steps in there, as long as you don't compromise that structure when you're framing against his oncoming attack. I also wanted to just address one thing really quickly. All of the stuff that we're showing on the channel, all of the drills, solo drills, partner drills, none of it means anything unless you practice it. And you practice it consistently over a long period of time. It also really helps if you have a skilled teacher under which to study from, who can put things in the correct context, because context is very important when we're studying all this, and oftentimes context is lost. There's only so much I can put into each video, only so many details I can put, otherwise each one of these topics can be like hours worth of conversations on their own. But for the sake of a video on YouTube and for the sake of not overloading you with information, we sort of narrow it down to what we think are the essentials. But it's really important to practice these things consistently over time, and ideally find a teacher who can guide you, put things into context, and help you polish all of these things. Otherwise, there's really you don't get so much value out of it other than just seeing something cool. As usual guys, thank you for watching. If you liked what you saw, if you learned from what you saw, please do like, subscribe and share the video. It really helps out the school a lot. And see you guys in the next video.